All right, Mike, I need you to try this. See how easy it is or not easy it is.
No doubt.
We've had so many phone calls and requests from people talking about aging in place and universal design and making my house ADA compatible. We decided we needed to put together a whole nother show. And so we were getting our props ready. We've got our boots. We've got our crutches. Mike, you doing okay?
I am struggling out here, man.
Standalone cane. It was late night TV. Infomercial. I acted quickly and I got 2 for the price of 1.
Free shipping?
No, I paid with MasterCard.
Okay, let's hear. Luke's got crutches.
Get him out of the attic.
Okay.
Tony?
No, I got 2.
2?
Yep, just in case one breaks, I need these.
The fascinating thing about all this
Help me out here,
okay,
Tony.
come on out, Mike.
Go ahead, try it.
All right. Here he comes.
This is not easy. Holy cow.
Oh, man. Oh, and then,
You think that's hard? I have a stroller and myself. I have to figure out how to get through places now.
you know, the fascinating thing is when we were preparing for this show, we were talking among ourselves and trying to get our props ready. It was like, who has crutches?
I did.
Everybody raised their hand. Who has boots?
More than one.
More than one. We've got full lists of different things we're going to go over today to make your home more of a universal design and for aging in place or design for all. So stay tuned as we unpack this whole thing.
Even for baby strollers and things like that.
yeah.
This is for everybody.
So how do I get through here?
It's a little bit easier, isn't it?
We're going to have to go together.
Let's go. Okay, Mike, let's put you back in here.
Welcome to Between the Studs. We are Granite Ridge Builders, custom builders serving northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and also parts of southern Michigan. We have been building custom homes for almost 2 decades, and we're really passionate about what we do. So join us today as we explore the processes, the trends, and also tips that characterize today's new home. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back. We're going to be talking about design for all today, but what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate a lot of things we've been talking about in the past, which is, handicap accessible, barrier-free, universal design, but we're going to be expanding that to what we know is design for all, and we're incorporating that in so many of our homes, but we do have a really special guest here. We would like to welcome back Kayla after about a 2-month absence.
Yay!
And Kayla, you have a new Between the Stud member, which I know everyone is going to fall in love with.
We do, absolutely. This is Oakland Christine Stewart. She was born May 25th.
Yes.
You know no one's going to pay attention to us.
Yeah, not at all.
I'm a great uncle.
Now, Kayla, since we had Oakland, we've really seen that there's some things that we could have designed our house around to make it more accommodating for the baby. First and foremost, instant hot water. When we have to warm up her baby bottles, we have to put the bowl in the microwave. It takes a couple minutes, and then it's got to warm up. That instant hot water dispenser is just amazing.
Wow, never thought of that.
It'd be so much better. There's a lot of things. We have several steps up to the front door, and if she's in her car seat or stroller, that can be challenging. One thing we did do well was a lever door handle because her hands are always full now, but wider hallways are a really big deal. Carrying her around wider doorways, I think I've already hit her head on a door a little bit trying to get through the hallway, but there's just a lot of things. So design for all and universal design and things that we're going to be talking about today, it's really all encompassing to any part of your life in age and stage.
So I think what we need to do, there's some definite terms that people have heard and they need to understand. So let's each one pick one of those terms, define it, and let's kind of talk about that a little bit so you guys can understand what all these things mean, like handicap accessible. But I think, Tony, you said design for all.
Design for all. We've heard a lot of people already mention it in the show, and this is a design philosophy so that you do not need to adapt your life or what's going on in your life for how you live. It can be something just as very simple, not just with houses, but also with products, like an electric toothbrush to help you with brushing your teeth in the morning.
Yeah, and really those things done right, they're comfortable to everybody, which kind of ties into universal design. They're very similar to design for all. So universal design simply means that a house designed for anybody of age, ability, or stature. So we're talking like kids. Elizabeth and I have some kids, so it could be as simple as maybe lowering some of the switches so that they can turn on the light switches, or even raising some of the plugs to make it a little easier for people to bend over. Cutting curbs is an example of that. Contrasting colors as you're going through some transitions will draw the attention that there might be a small step there, so people are kind of warned about that.
It's not just for impairment people.
No.
It really is for life living. It's good design, basically.
Right.
And then there's aging in place. So having your home or building set up so it's safe and secure as you age while you're there for your whole life. So an adaptable home.
Right. We build a lot for people who take that into consideration. They're like, well, I know down the road I may want a grab bar here. So we'll put some blocking in place so that it's easy for them to install later.
Well, in aging in place, Carmen and I are thinking about this, and here's what we want to do. We want to get our next house designed so we can live there for a very long time, but we're also setting it up. Maybe some of us or one of us will need care. So we might have that so a caregiver could live in that house also. We found this out. Did you know you can save $2,000 to $4,000 a month by having care come in rather than living in some kind of center?
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things aging in place that we'd love to talk to people about and hopefully set them up for the future.
And that ties in really well with handicap accessibility. It's not just a commercial thing anymore. You're not just going to see it in businesses. We're making those wider doorways for wheelchairs and walkers, ramps to get up so that way you're not having to deal with steps. We're really making the house inclusive for anybody.
And I think, Luke, 5 foot, why is that your big number? All I ever hear you talk about is 5 foot.
Right, so if somebody is in a wheelchair going into a space, they need about 5 foot radius to be able to turn the wheelchair around. So that comes into play in like kitchens and bathrooms specifically, because bathrooms, there's a lot of, the toilet, the vanity, they need to have that space to be able to churn and use that space. So there is no obstruction.
Now, Luke, you're talking the 5 foot radius. We also call that barrier free. So barrier free design it could be minimal thresholds, it could be no curbs to a shower, but it's also the 5 foot radius so that you have things are open so that you don't have barriers in the way that you have, or obstacles you have to go around.
The other big thing with all this universal design, with all the things we talked about, the word I come up with is invisibility.
Yes.
Now, what I mean by that is all these designs, grab bars now, they're invisible.
Yep.
You don't even know they're there. Certain types of sinks, spray handles, all the way where we place our microwaves, our appliances. The word invisibility is you don't even know these designs are there. And like Lonnie always keeps saying, sometimes they don't cost a dime.
Right.
So I love the word invisibility. We're going to be talking about that segment too.
And by the way, at Granite Ridge Builders, we have a list that will help you think through your new home with respect to this subject. So give us a call or inquire, request it, we'll send it out to you. By the way, another term is visitability.
Oh, wait. I said invisibility.
No, I'm talking about visitability.
There's a T in there.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, visit.
Yes.
Oh, that means
Visit.
people coming to my house, they visit me.
Yes.
Okay, what's that?
Your home, you may be fine in your home, but what about that person who has a handicap or a impairment that's going to come and visit? Can they get in your home? And so visitability measures your home. We've got a meter, Tony.
That's awesome.
A meter that will measure your home and determine how visitable. Is that right?
You just keep making up words.
It's your home.
So let's start unpacking a few things when it comes to stats and facts about the housing market and what's going on with this. And this first one scared me. It said that only 2% of the current housing stock is set up for universal design, barrier-free, anything along those lines. Only 2%.
Wow.
Then the other stat was 60% of Americans are afraid that their house is hurting their health.
Ooh. Well, you know why that 2% is true? Did you know that the average medium home in the United States of America was built in 1974, meaning the median home or the average home in the United States is 48 years old. And they weren't set up for all the things we're going to talk about today, which is designed for all.
And by the way, in less than 30 years, 20% of the American population will be over 65 years old.
Oh.
And right now, today, there's over 10,000 baby boomers that are retiring every day. That's a lot of potential accidents waiting to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And 2 out of 5 adults, 65 and older, have some sort of a disability. Now, it's estimated by the U.S. Department of Housing that 56% of seniors could save thousands every month if they just had a home designed for them.
Now, Tony, you talked about invisibility in design. What about something that's invisible that affects everybody that enters that home? The indoor air. EPA estimates that 82% of all homes do not meet safe indoor air levels. And that affects everybody. And there's nothing worse than living in a home that you just can't breathe in, you can't feel comfortable in. And 25 million people suffer from asthma. And that out of that 25 million, 7 million are children. And then 20% of all people suffer from some sort of allergy. So we take a lot of precautionary measures to make sure that indoor air quality in all of our homes is at a safe level and people can breathe easy.
And the fantastic news is Granite Ridge has been doing this for the last 10 years. We've perfected the system. You got to talk to us.
Well, 26% of the people in the United States have some sort of disability. 5% of people have some sort of vision disability. It affects people in my own family significantly. That means lighting and color are a big problem for them.
Now, Tony said only 2% of all homes on the market right now meet the needs for aging in place. Now, why is it so important to design new homes to meet these criteria? It costs 22 times more to renovate your home to make it meet those needs than it is to design it in the first place.
Only 2% of the homes out there right now have zero threshold entries, wider hallways and doorways, and so Granite Ridge is really trying hard to make sure that most of our homes are a lot more accessible for all this design for all we're talking about. All right, well, we're going to dive into a lot more of the details that we've been talking about in the next coming segment, so stay tuned. We're excited to share all of this information with you.
I think what she's really trying to say is Oakland needs a change.
Well, speaking of healthy air.
All right, let's go get you changed. What you think?
Lonnie, it's so exciting to be talking about the first segment, and it's all about accessibility.
Right, it's things like having a covered porch that will protect you from the elements when you're trying to enter the home.
And also having that slip-proof concrete on there, so it just makes it a little bit safer.
Yeah, we do that on our patios and our front doors and maybe even the side doors. Also a motion detector light that will actually automatically come on when you enter the home.
And also with that motion detector, like the Ring doorbells, so you can see exactly when anyone's coming up to your front door.
There's things like levers and peepholes. We're also doing ramps in special places, like we have one here at this front door, so a baby buggy or a person that is in a wheelchair can get in easily.
See, the biggest part about this is just planning everything out ahead of time and letting us know what's going on. Also, sometimes that's not actually for you, but maybe it's for your parent, and you can have something called controlled accessibility. So if you need to check on them quickly, you can go and check on them quickly.
Another really important consideration is lighting. You got to light those areas properly and well.
And it's not just the front, it's also the back. And Lonnie, we've got those 8-foot sliding doors that have the 4-foot wide openings. That makes it really nice to get in and out of there.
Well, this show today is all about design for all, and we cannot forget how important that is when it comes to paint colors and lighting.
Absolutely. We talked about at the beginning of the show, 5% of people have a vision impairment, a disability. So that makes a big difference. Contrasting colors can really help with that.
Absolutely. Contrasting colors when it comes to your walls and your floor or your countertop and your floor, making sure that you can tell the difference when a barrier is coming that you can see easily.
Absolutely. And then lighting. Lighting is so important.
You know, what's going to be really important with your lighting is going to be layered lighting to make sure that when you need all of that light, it is there and available to you. But then sometimes you need it to be a little bit dimmer. When you're first getting up in the morning or things like that, you can have your layered lighting, and you're going to accomplish that by under cabinet lights, task lights, having things on different switches as well between can lights versus pendants, or several lights in your bathroom is a huge one for lighting, is going to be your bathroom. And don't forget about natural lighting. That's going to be very important when we have all of these discussions with your lighting throughout the day.
The other thing is too, as little Oakland's growing up and her big brothers, you need those night lights, especially for kids and for those of us who get up a lot during the night. Night lights in the hallways so we can see where we're going in the middle of the night.
Well, we have all of these tips for you and more here at Granite Ridge Builders.
Motion lights are the best. Come on, I'll show you the ones we've got over here.
Yeah, I love that. There are a lot of important areas when it comes to design for all, but probably one of the most important for our viewers is the kitchen. So we're going to talk a lot about different features that are very important in design for all.
Now, one might be your countertop in the kitchen. You may want to think about lowering that. So if you need to sit while you're preparing any food, that would be lower and make it easier to work.
You can even do it higher if you need to do things while standing, because you could want to sit or stand. So either way, countertop height is really important. Some different cabinet features that are really important as well would be lazy Lazy Susans. You see them a lot in the corner base cabinets, but what about your upper cabinet so things are easier to reach? You also have the type of pulls for your handles. The pulls are easier than knobs, so that's a very important one with cabinetry. Full extension drawers. There's so many different things that can accommodate the cabinetry when it comes to design for all.
And then of course the layout. That's probably the most important. The kitchen that we're standing in right now is a great layout because we have a big radius here. So we have a 5-foot radius. So you're able to maneuver the kitchen very easily between your sink, your range, dishwasher, and your refrigerator.
Now the sink is a really important feature as well. We'd like to talk about touch faucets. You can even think about the instant hot water we've talked about before and earlier in the show, as well as the sink placement and the height. You might want to roll under your sink and have it open underneath could be a really important feature for you.
And then think about the depth of that sink because a lot of our sinks right now are really deep, and think about when you're trying to bend over if that's too far for you. Now lastly, the appliances. That's really important.
Absolutely. It's great to have the French door ovens, French door refrigerators, all of that. You can raise your dishwasher. So many different features to think about in the kitchen. There's many, many more. Come to Granite Ridge Builders. We'd love to talk to you about them. Well, I think I could make the argument that the bathroom is the single most important place in the home to talk about universal design and design for all.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for people to fall or get hurt in a bathroom if you don't take the proper precautions. And we're going to talk a little bit about that here.
Absolutely. It's really important to have showers that are accessible. You have your radius turn like we have next to us here. It's really nice to not have a door on that type of shower as well because that could just be something that can get in the way. So that's really, I mean, how many people take showers? You want to have benches, seats, and the handheld shower head is very important.
And it's not just something that you can use for humans or people with disabilities. This is something that you could really use on your pets or, you know, for us, for Oakland, you know, it's really easy to run her with this little handheld shower.
Absolutely, especially for cleaning, I love it. Now there's other things besides showers that's very important in a bathroom. We want to talk about your raised toilets are going to be very important, maybe grab bars around that area. Now the great thing about grab bars is they don't have to be this commercial-like looking thing. We have Towel Assist by Delta that's really great. You don't even notice that they're there. They've incorporated them in your toilet paper holders, your towel bars, but it doubles as a grab bar. So again, when we talk about this invisible design, it's great for me because it's super trendy and you don't even notice they're there.
And it's really something that you can plan for the future. It's not just the things that are physically there right now. You can prep your house so that way you can put grab bars in for the future.
Now there's so many different things we can talk about when it comes to your vanities, having a knee hole. We have the right types of sinks, things like that. So many different things in the bathrooms. Come over to Granite Ridge. We have so many more to talk to you about.
Well, Granite Ridge Builders has been designing homes for aging in place for over 20 years. And one way that we're doing that is by our villa homes. We are a premier villa builder here in Fort Wayne.
Elizabeth, we have some of the most beautiful villa lots available in the area. And how does villa living tie into aging in place and building for everybody?
So the difference in a villa home is it's just like any other home. You own your house and your lot, but you don't have to mow, you don't have to shovel snow, you don't have to worry about your landscaping.
Yeah, and now as we transition to the inside of the home, we're building our houses with minimal thresholds from your garage to the interior of your house, 0 threshold showers. Outdoor living is a big thing in our villas, so we have minimal thresholds going to your patio where it's just a single level going outside so you can really enjoy those outdoors as well.
And then of course wider doors and wider halls. So these homes are set up to accommodate anybody, and it's all ages. So you could be, 25 or you could be 75. They're set up for everyone. So the villa lifestyle will help you with that exterior work that you may not be able to do. We are a custom builder. We can incorporate all of these ideas from today into your next new home.
This is one of my favorite.
I figured out that is not a telephone.
It's not?
No, it's a sprayer and it's so convenient.
It really is so
cool.
convenient. Let's talk about appliances that are for all. Appliances for all.
Okay.
One of my favorite, the French door refrigerator.
And something we take for granted is the ice maker. It is so convenient for everybody to get ice and water in their glass.
Well, we mentioned French door refrigerators. There's also that French door oven.
Right.
So much easier to open than a big See, look, I can't even do it.
2 doors instead of 1, right. And as we think about other appliances like microwaves, that has changed also. Now, we're putting microwaves under the counter like we see here. So convenient.
Microwaves under the counter and those dishwashers, I don't know about you, but instead of having to reach all the way down, we're raising those dishwashers, makes it much easier to load and unload, because at my house, I'm the only one that can do that.
Right, and they also have special sprayers now in some dishwashers that allow you to wash baby bottles, for example. How would I know? But that's what they tell me.
Baby bottles too, on a thing like that. The glass, you just stick it, that or in my house, the wine glasses, you know.
Right.
Yes.
And they also, the disposal, for example, where they put the switch and the type of switch can make it very convenient and easy for everybody.
One more thing, those mixer stands, they can be in the cabinet, and they raise right up so that bad back, you don't have to be picking up those mixers.
Or the pull-out shelves, which allows you to put the mixer and then you can put it up in a convenient place. Yeah, there's so many things like that to consider. And Charity, one other appliance is the stove. And we're talking about the knobs. Whether you put them in the back, kind of hard to reach, or in front, which is very convenient for many people, you know, is a really big deal. And it's up to you.
That's right. Appliances for all. One thing we can customize for your home.
As we're talking about design for all, we're really also talking about flooring for all. And this is one of those features that people can do that is invisible to the eye, but can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Now, what's going to make a huge difference in flooring for all is going to be something like the textures in the floor or having grip to your tile, things like that. But the other thing to consider is if there are things like wheelchairs or walkers, or now, as I know, strollers that have to do with this, the installation is going to be really important for your flooring. If you choose a carpet, choose something with a low pile so it's not going to crush as easily, and have it glued down. No pad is really important for carpet when you're trying to get around the home. It's going to be a lot easier. Same with your floating planks. You're going to want that to be glued down so it doesn't move near as easily when you have a lot of friction on that flooring. Those are going to be the really important parts that, again, you don't necessarily see, and you don't notice, but it's very important for the visitability and everybody using that floor. You do want something, maybe even a contrasting color in these floors. That's going to be a really important thing when you're talking stairways and things like that. Having contrasting colors between the different floor materials is going to help you so you know when something new is coming, instead of maybe going from the plank to the carpet and tripping because it's a different substance. So all very good, important designs.
So when we're doing the design for all, the flooring for all is one important thing you need to keep in mind. And if you have questions, please reach out to us here at Granite Ridge Builders.
All right, Elizabeth, we've talked a lot about different design principles in here to take into effect designing for all, but really where it starts is with the floor plan. And that's one thing that makes Granite Ridge unique, is we can take any of these floor plans, we can customize them because we have 5 in-house draftsmen that can make these houses fit your needs.
And this is a lot of fun. There's a lot of things to consider when it comes to designing your floor plan. First, I want to touch on the garage, because you don't want to miss extra space in the garage. You want to have space on each side of your car, in the front and the back, so you can maneuver to get into your house. But there's other things: wider hallways, wider doors. You want some soft corners so that you don't have sharp corners. And then having some things in central locations, such as a bathroom.
Right. And with the doors, there's doors that make it a little easier to use. So like we talked about wider doors, but they also have dual pivoting doors that can swing both ways, or bifold doors can also be very easy to use.
And also think about your windows, the placement of where you put them, as well as the type of window. So a double hung is harder for you to slide up and down versus a casement window where it's easy to crank open.
Right. Now, wellness is a big factor into this too, and we learned about that when we were down at the International Builders Show. And let's talk about outdoor living when it comes to these floor plans.
The veranda is very important. We want to promote a healthy lifestyle and healthy living, and being outside and, you know, some fresh daylight is great. So a veranda is essential on a home like this.
Right, and you take all this into consideration. It's a lot to think about, but that's why we are the experts. So again, we can come in here, design these floor plans any way you need it. If you go to our website, you can actually request one of these books that can be sent to you, so you can start looking at it and seeing what would work best for you in your situation. All right, Mike, we've got a tough segment here because we're talking about technology and there's so much to unpack. But the reality is technology has improved so much that these things, universal design, design for all, and aging in place, have, we've been able to do so much more for the people living in the house because the technology is making it easier and more comfortable for them.
Yeah, the comfort and the way technology is married together has really improved the lives of everybody across the board. 9 out of 10 older Americans say that they would rather age in place, stay in their own home rather than move to assisted living.
Right. Well, let's run through a few of these things. And we think of technology and we think, man, it must be expensive. But there's some very basic things we can do that don't add a lot of expense, but can make it a lot easier to utilize the home. So for example, things like switching from toggle switches to rocker switches, where you just kind of give it a fist bump or bump it with your elbow and it will turn on the light. Or we can even take it a step further and do more motion activated, where you just walk into a room and the lights kick on.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of other things for the security of your home. There's a lot of automated things that are voice activated. You can scroll through your phone, you can have your security system on your phone, and then there's also keyless entry on your doors as well, where you can either swipe an app on your phone or you have a key tag and it gets you into your house.
Right. There are a lot of things that we can do to make people comfortable in their own space, whether it's from, like you said, security, or if they are aging and getting a little older but they don't want to move out, we can put some monitors in place so other people in their family can just make sure that everything is okay and that they're safe.
Nice little wellness check there. Like you said, Luke, there's a million different things that we could talk about. We could make a whole show on just technology here. Yeah. So if you want to see more about what we have here at the showroom, stop on in and we would be happy to talk to you about it.
All right, let's back it up here.
Hey, Mike, I'm really impressed, but your backup lights are not on.
I think you still need one on for her.
The wheelchair's not easy, but the baby is. We should try for another.
Oh, really? I love that.
You know, Tony, what I find really interesting is we could talk about this forever. We could probably do another 10 shows on Design for All. But I thought what was interesting is a couple weeks ago we did all about landscaping, hardscaping, but raised beds are becoming huge. That is all Designing for All too. Raised beds, vertical gardens now. Again, it's all about universal design and Design for All.
And they're also putting more benches out there so that people can sit, they can relax, they can enjoy those gardens. They're doing some ramp slopes to get back to where the gardens are. They're even adding in bigger sliding glass doors on the back patio so that they can get out there to the gardens to enjoy them.
And when it comes to Design for All, I'm impressed about how many of these things are really invisible. You don't see them. And the price, very modest.
And what excites me is technology. Technology, the improvements in that is changing the Designing for All phase here. And what it's really doing is it's creating independence for people who didn't have it before.
And I'm excited about visitability. So my house, I want it to be set up so that people can come visit me, whether it's a friend or maybe one of my parents who has some limitations.
Absolutely. I'm overwhelmed by how many people are affected by this. It makes me really want to help. I want people to come in here so that we can help them and make your houses work for you.
And we talked earlier, the market is just not set up with houses that have the accessibility for people who need it. And the cost to remodel is astronomical compared to building. So, come see Granite Ridge and we can talk to you about how to make your house accessible.
I love that everything we talked about today is on trend and it's nothing that's going to detract from your home. It's actually going to add so much to your home. So that's what we are here for, is to add all of these wonderful design features.
We're running out of time. We've got a lot more to talk about, but Kayla, could you close?
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us today. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and why we do what we do so well, please pick up the phone and give us a call, visit our website, or even better yet, come in our front door. We would love to talk to you all about these universal design trends.
You still got it. You haven't missed it.
Hey, it's a couple months.
Glad to have you
I can
and
hold the baby now.
Oakland back.
There we go.
I think Oakland's still the star.
And there's one other appliance, and that's the oven, where you put the knobs, whether they're in the back or in the front.
It's a range.
You're correct. And one other appliance is the oven. Where they put the, what did I say? Okay, yeah. It is a range, isn't it? And one other appliance is the oven. I'm sorry. And one other appliance is the range. Did I say it right? Is it right? I don't know now. I'm confused. Is it range?
Yes.
All right. Stay with me. We're going to get this done. I'm sorry. And one other appliance to consider. We're going south.